I'm Janet.
I'm Jacia.
I'm Rachel, and this is Walk is Happening.
So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about dealing with rejections and the different types of rejection. So, Janet,
Well,
you can start us
the
off.
first thing that comes to mind is academic rejection, especially since we just applied to uni. As some of our listeners may know, I was rejected by Oxford, and I was sad for about a day and a half. But personally, I think I deal with rejection pretty well. Like, I think I can take people saying no to me, because I guess I've just learned to not really not to not prioritize their opinions, but to understand that my self-worth should come internally rather than externally. But obviously this has been a long time coming, right? And I'm still trying to get there, but I think I'm quite an emotionally stable person in general, and like I don't really experience high highs and low lows in the way that some other people do. But I don't know about you guys.
So, Janet, you're an Oxford
Reject.
reject. I'm a Cambridge reject, so tweeting on that. But to be honest, when I applied, I already knew that I couldn't get in. So I was just applying because everyone else was applying. So it didn't hit me as deeply. So I wasn't too sad over it, honestly. I just took it as it is because I already knew. But I think for academic rejection, the most significant instance was when I applied for a scholarship in year 10. Wow, that's a long time ago. Because the year I applied, everyone else who applied got it except for me. So it hit me especially deep. Because I was like, oh, everyone else is better than me. I'm not worthy in like the eyes of Michelle. Yeah. And I felt really bad about that. So that's the deepest experience I've had with rejection. I cried for a week after, but I didn't tell anyone about it because everyone else was so happy that they got it, and I had to. I feel like I didn't want to kind of trample their emotions, so I just kept it to myself. But then I got into LPC after that, so it made me feel better about myself. If I had gotten the scholarship, I would stayed at RC, but the Shen did not give me the scholarship, and also I left.
You deserve it anyways.
Yeah, we can cut this part out, but maybe. I think that made me feel a lot better. Cut that out.
Whoa there.
Make it
Whoa
a
there.
bleep.
We're not cutting that
No,
out. We're
no,
not
cut that
cutting
out,
that
or
out.
else I'm gonna.
We're not.
We'll bleep
It's
it
up
out.
to
Yeah,
Janet
cut it
to
out.
cut it out or not.
Yeah, bleep it out.
Okay. Just a long bleep. Wow. I feel like instead of actually like quote unquote dealing with rejection, I feel like I put myself in situations where I don't have to deal with it. So in a sense, so let's say so I originally wanted to go to US, right? But I convinced myself that, I mean, and it probably was not the smartest decision for me to actually go there because one, it was expensive, two, it was COVID, and when I was talking to my future education counselor, she was like, with the predicted grade that I got, it would be better for me to just go to the UK. And so then instead of applying and knowing that I probably won't get it and dealing with that rejection, I just end up not going through the whole process. So I just swerve my way, And then even applying to UK, because there wasn't actually so many schools that I really, really, really want to go to. And there's not a whole trip bang schools, especially for art. I kind of knew that it was just I don't want to sound arrogant, but I kind of knew that I was gonna get in anyways. So I don't know, it's just, yeah, I don't really I don't know, yeah.
No, I think I resonate with some aspects of that. If you don't let yourself try in the first place, then you won't even have to deal with the rejection at all, right?
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
think
Yeah.
okay, I remember in year maybe like 9 or 8 or something like that, my parents wanted me to apply for a scholarship at school. And at that point, I was still in the
Mm.
mindset that if I don't try, then I won't get rejected. So then I just said that I didn't want to apply for the
Mm.
scholarship, which looking back is it's such a stupid thing to do, especially with like how expensive our school fees were. And I still feel guilty about it to this day
Yeah.
because they respected me enough they respected me enough for me to say I don't want to do it, and they didn't probe me or push me any further. Like that's the type of trust that they place in me and the type of respect that they have for me. But I wasn't able to reciprocate that respect in the same sense that I'm not even willing to try and alleviate these social or financial burdens that will be placed upon you too, because I'm so fucking stupid and scared to deal with rejection or unwilling to deal with rejection in the first place. So like
Mm.
looking back now, I think sometimes it's important that to put yourself out there and be prepared to deal with the rejection if that means it actually increases your chance of actually moving forward, right? Like obviously this wasn't something that I understood
Mm.
back then,
Yeah.
and I still regret it to this day. So I really think it's important to do that. But I say this, but in my school, there's like a really, really, I wouldn't, it's okay, it's sort of toxic, but there's a really strong career driven culture in uni. And just straight after coming in, almost everyone around you is like they're talking about careers and like internships and like investment banking and all that like stuff. And I was so overwhelmed. And at some point, I felt pressured to apply for these internships as well because I was like, wait, if everyone around me is applying for it, does that mean I have to as well? Like, what if I get left behind? And then I was like, I don't want to repeat the same mistakes that I repeated years ago when attempting, or not attempting rather, to apply for the scholarship. Like, I want to, like, it's like, you know that quote that
Mm.
was put in front of the gym on the third floor? Like, that really cheesy Michael Jordan quote, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's kind of
Oh,
like that,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
But then I think this
Yeah.
situation was different from the situation before in the sense that this isn't actually something that I want to pursue. So I shouldn't succumb to the pressure to apply to these sorts of internships when there are other avenues out there that I've probably yet to discover that are much more better suited for me. But for the situation before, it's do you want to alleviate your parents' financial pressure? Yes, of course. Do you want to make them happy or do you want to make their lives easier? Like, yes, of course. Like, so that's like the discrepancy that existed then that doesn't exist now. But there's still sort of parallels in the I'm scared of getting rejected. Should I just not try at all?
Mm. Yeah. And I think like in my situation, like the whole like US uni thing, it also is sort of well, it's similar in the sense that because the US schools are
Mm.
actually really freaking expensive. Like, and because my brother was also like already going to a US school, like I felt that the reason to not apply was justified because it's essentially like if I did quote unquote like get in, which probably I wouldn't, but if I did, then it's just like double the amount of money
Mm.
that they would have to like spend. So then I felt like I do regret it a little bit, like not applying, but then it's also just like in a way justified because I wouldn't be spending money. Because then applying to US schools also like
Mm.
just applying itself costs money. Especially like like UC schools, like they all freaking pay you so much just to apply. So yeah, but I don't know. Would you like consider? I mean, like failure and rejection. Do you think that's like interchangeable in some circumstances? Like not all, but
I think I used to kind of
mm,
subconsciously correlate the two because I feel like a lot of times rejection is a reflection of how other people view you as compared to others. So it's like kind of a hit on like
Mm.
my self-worth, and I kind of feel like I'm less than other people if I don't get this offer or this thing that I'm applying to. But then I think I've grown to kind of understand that there are more factors that other people look for than, let's say, your ability to do something. They look at other factors like your personality, your suitability for the thing that you're applying to. And I think understanding that concept made me kind of uncorrelate the two words. Because if you're rejected for one thing doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be successful in another. How about you? Have you guys felt that way?
Yeah, I agree. But I also think a lot of times rejection comes from failure. But not in the sense that rejection comes from failure in the sense that you were unable to do something that you really hoped that you were able to achieve. So in that sense, you quote unquote failed to achieve that thing. But I think the issue with relating rejection and failure is when you receive a rejection and you feel and you internalize that I am a failure. Like that is the bit where I think the problem comes up. Because I think it's okay to fail at doing something. Fail, when I say fail, like not be able to do some things. Like you can't expect yourself to be able to do everything and get into everything. Like if that happened, then life would just be easy, but frankly, so kind of boring, right? Like you just get your way for every single thing you wanted in life. And that's just not how it works. So I think it's important to recognize that there will be bumps on the road, and there will be times where you're unable to do things that you really wish you could have. But, you know, don't associate yourself, like don't value yourself based on these sort of like external achievements, right? Or something like that. And like on that note as well, the comparison thing definitely is true as well. Because it's really hard not to compare yourself to others, just because it's the easiest way for you to get a quick look at where you are at life, how you're doing. Because like what else are you supposed to look at? So you obviously the best thing and the easiest thing for you to do is to look at the people who are most like you and if they are able to do it or not. Right? So for example, if Rachel, you're in med school, the quickest thing and the easiest thing for you to do is to look at other med school students in your cohort, how they're doing, and that's how you determine how well you're doing. Because at the end of the day, how do you know how well you're doing without comparing yourself to others? Like there has to be some sort of benchmark for you to like refer to, right? Otherwise you're just like floating in the abyss. There's no actual like tangible outcome for you to determine whether or not you're doing well. But I guess that's kind of conflicting.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I get that though, because then I guess like that does sound like a bit contradicting, but then it's also, oh, I don't know, this topic is a bit like whoa, but I guess it makes sense in a way, because then you're not, because sometimes like when you do compare, it's like you tend to look at people who are I guess, okay, that's hard, because if you try and compare yourself with people in your course, like obviously there's not going to be someone who's exactly the same as you or exactly the same level as you. And I feel like people often compare like themselves with people who they perceive are better than them. So then automatically like you already feel like you're like not on the same level, and that you be like you're so like far behind them, even though there's obviously like a discrepancy in like opportunities and like environment. So in that sense, like comparing yourself to those type of people, like people who you this is hard, man. What the hell? Frick. Yeah, I don't know. Like you know what? I don't even know what I'm saying.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking of like
Damn.
influencers right now. I think most of us, like, I don't know why, but like,
Okay, well, no, you don't.
hear me out. Most of us gravitate towards looking
hearing
up
you
to
out.
people who are, like you said, better at things than we are, right? And I'm not necessarily saying that like Instagram influencers or something, they're like better at us at specific skills or whatever. But we do inevitably look up to them because there's like a cloak of like prestige around them, right? Like they are associated with being like prestigious in like just being human, you know, especially since a lot of them aren't actually that much older than us. So then you look at them and you're like,
Yes,
wow,
yes, yeah.
like oh, like the D'Amelios and like Noah Becker like flying around like different places. They're like modeling for
Oh,
these big fashion brands, and here we are sitting in our dorms talking about dealing with rejection, right? But like,
we're cool, man. But I get what you mean. Like, yeah,
no,
I don't
I
know.
always say this. You know, whenever someone does something that like suddenly blows up, something like Olivia Rodrigo, or like even like the Olympic snowboard person, the
This,
Aileen
yeah,
Gu,
yeah, yeah.
Eileen Gu,
Oh
and like
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
people. Whenever I look them up, I Google them and then I see their age. And then I'm like, holy shit, this person is younger than us. I'm like, holy shit, this person is our age. And then the default response from me and like the people around me are just like, oh, we're so useless. Like, obviously, we say that loosely because we understand that it is sort of irrational to compare ourselves to like these people. It's sort of irrational to compare myself to Olivia Rodrigo, to Aileen Gu, and to even like Gail, you know, the ABCDEFU singer. You know, she's 17. She's 17. Exactly.
Oh my God,
Exactly.
yo,
So
I'm
then you
almost
sort of think
19.
like, damn, like, what
Shit.
am I doing with my life?
But I feel like we always have like throughout our lives, like we always question that, and we always like see everyone who like blows up. But then it's like, but then when you act like in reality, when you actually think about it, it's no one is ever gonna like those opportunities are just like not there for us, and it's not, and it's obviously something like we probably don't want to pursue in a sense.
Obviously, we're like more regular people, right? And we're still young in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So as we grow older, do you think we'll get more numb to rejection? Like we'll get more accustomed to it? Just because as we age, we'll probably the frequency that we get rejected will probably increase, right? That just comes with life experience. So as that happens, do you think we'll get better at either dealing with it, or is it just a byproduct of us accepting that this is a part of life?
I personally don't think it gets better with age because as we age, we have more responsibilities, and the things that we do are weighing heavier. So the rejection comes stronger with that because, like, although at like our age, the things that we do are also quite important. Like applying to uni, getting rejected, of course, that's gonna like affect your future. But then perhaps like in the future, our jobs, that's gonna like determine like majority of our lives. Like, or I don't know, relationships, finding someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. That's like a heavy decisions. And I think that dealing with rejections from those kind of heavier topics might hit us even deeper. But I think our mindset would improve because we kind of know how we would react. We kind of know our own emotions better as we age. So I think that although it hits deeper, that our coping mechanism might be better. What do you guys think?
I think it depends on a lot of other factors in your life, right? So, like, for example, if you got rejected for a job, but you're living from paycheck to paycheck, then obviously that rejection is going to hit so much harder because it has such a much bigger magnitude on how your like day-to-day life will actually play out, right? So if you're unable to get that job, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Therefore, you might not be able to afford rent. You might not be able to afford your child's education. You might not be able to I don't know, continue doing the activities that you enjoyed and stuff like that. And also like the emotional stress that comes with it. But say you got rejected from a job, but you're still in a stable job now. It's simply a matter of you got rejected from being promoted. Then that also changes things, right? So then it also links back to what stage of life you're at, I guess. And also a number of other factors that, you know, constitute your life at that certain point in time. But I personally think, well, at least now, going forward, I feel like I'm in a direction of adopting the mindset that rejections just come with, like, that's just life. And therefore, I shouldn't put so much gravity to the rejections that come my way. But I'm also afraid that by adopting this mindset, what if I just like have this nonchalant, like, oh, that's just life mindset for everything. And then I just like start slacking off, you know? Like there has to be a balance between hard work and talent and luck, right? But how would I balance that if I have this sort of oh, that's just life. Like, whatever. It's not that deep. Like, is that going to impede on the trajectory of my life? Or, you know, like I'm thinking, do the people who take rejections really, really hard, do they use that as fuel to motivate them to like work really hard, like put their foot on the gas and seize the next opportunity that comes? Or what? Or do they just like, and some people might even like not deal a rejection like really poorly, and they just like lock themselves in their room and they just, you know, isolate themselves from society and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think from what we talked about, I think rejection itself might not be the scariest thing, but how like our mindset that comes with rejection is the more
Right.
important bit. Like I think we should move towards having like a growth mindset, like not, as Janet said, just isolate yourself, ignore it, pretend it didn't happen, but maybe like look at why we got rejected. Like
Right.
how can we improve? Like comparing ourselves to other people who have different opportunities, background, context than us is obviously not going to be productive. But I think looking at the small gaps we can do to kind of close and reduce the distance between us and them is the only thing we can do that is productive and can allow us to move forward from rejection.
Right. So it's not the rejection itself.
And enough
It's how we
talk.
react to the rejection that
Yeah, yeah.
counts.
Enough talk on us being rejected. Have you guys rejected
Yeah, no,
other
that's what I was
people?
thinking as well. Like, do you think it's because you know how like well, first this is a me thing, but I used to, and I still do sometimes. I find it difficult to say no to people. And do you think this is because we know how it feels to get rejected? Therefore, you don't want to like inflict that sort of rejection on others because you know that how it feels. Like even then, this can be like on different scales, right? You know, even sometimes like your friend asks you to go out for lunch or something, and then you just don't feel like it, or you're just busy, or like you just want to have your, or you're just not bothered to go out even. But you're like, oh, I feel bad. I feel bad if I say no. It's like the I feel bad. Like, why do you feel bad? You feel bad because you think you're being mean, or you feel bad because you don't want them to feel bad. Like, what's the reason behind that? And how do we deal with rejecting others? Like,
It's a hard topic because I find it very hard to reject other people too. And I often take on a lot more than I can chew because I want to do a lot of things, and other people also like ask me to help out with other things, and I feel bad to say no. And I don't know. I feel like it is an important lesson that I have to personally learn. Because, I don't know, I feel like if I rejected my friends, then it kind of puts us in an awkward situation. It's like, how do I phrase this? It's like totally
oh, like you owe them a favor.
Yeah, it's like an emotional depth that I feel like I have to return in the future. It just makes me feel uneasy. It's like, I feel like because the person who is raising the request also has their own difficulties, and that's why they reached out. And I think I get that part, which is why I find it hard to reject, because I want to, when I ask other people if they can help out with things, I don't want them to reject either. So it's kind of this mindset. Is it the same for you?
Yes, but also as an extension of that, I also fear that sometimes if you just start saying no to things and start having things like your way, I feel like there's a fine line between like even though if it's not my intention, there's a fine line between people thinking, oh, like she's just trying to like alienate herself from the group, so they will just stop asking you after a couple of no's, and or oh, she just cares about herself, like what about us, type of thing. But maybe that's just something that everyone has to try and like understand, right? Like not everything. Like sometimes people just have to put themselves first, because there are just some things that they have to handle internally before being able to participate externally. Does that make any sense? Like, I think of peer pressure, for example, for going out or like drinking and stuff like that. I think it's hard for people not to feel obligated to like, oh, since everyone's drinking so much, like I have to drink a lot as well. Like I just have to like, just keep up with other people. But sometimes, what if I do want to drink, but I just want to chase the buzz? I'm not there to get like fucked. But people feel pressured to like feel that way just because other people around you are doing that. So at what point do you draw the line between this is what I want, this is the farthest I'm willing to go, please understand. It's not that I don't want to be part of the in group or be part of the group activity.
I resonate with that because uni, everyone goes out partying, everyone goes out drinking, and I personally I don't like to drink. I don't like the taste of alcohol personally, but then I feel like if I don't go to these events, I'm missing out because it's like a new kind of environment, and if I don't go, I lose out on the opportunity to make friends. And like, or if I'm invited to someone else's birthday party, and then they like everyone just like starts drinking, and I feel awkward if I'm the only one who like does not drink. So I feel like I have to assimilate to the environment, and I find it very hard to say no in those circumstances. So usually I just say like, "Oh, I'm not free. I don't want to go."
Just to circle back to what we were saying in the beginning, though, because I think this sort of links. Like, right now we're talking about saying no when you just simply don't want to do it, right? So in the case of saying no because I simply don't want to get rejected, does that limit your opportunities? Like, does that make you stagnate or like plateau? Because you're just saying no because you refuse to feel like you are unwanted by X person, X company, X group. Like I think there has to be some sort of balance that is struck, right? Like a perfect balance of, not perfect balance, but a nice balance of risk taking and understanding your personal desires and what's best for you. Because if you avoid risk, or if you avoid doing things that are outside of your comfort zone all in all, then where will that get you in life? Is what I'm trying to say. Like, let's say we didn't go out during Freshers Week. Like, sure, like maybe the people you met during Freshers Week aren't some of your closest friends now. But nonetheless, you still met new people and you still met different people. And I think that is important, to not just meet people who are like you, but also meet people who are not like you. Like, I'm not saying that we have to be the best of friends with people who are completely different to us. But I still think it's important to have that sort of point of contact, right? So then, what would you guys say is the best way to approach this conundrum? Like 20% risk taking, 80% do what you want, or something like that.
I think, yeah, when it comes to things like job opportunities and networking opportunities, networking in a sense, it's like a event, not like a social gathering, if you know what I mean. Different than like party than like some like volunteering event or whatever. In that sense, I feel like in some cases it's like deep down or like subconsciously that is good for you, right? Like, and I think, oh man, where am I going with this? So I forgot.
I get you. Like for like these job kind of networking opportunities that are for like long term for your career, I'm the type to like grab as many opportunities as I can because I already have in my mind I know I will get rejected from some. So it's like fishing. The bigger the net, the more fish you get, It's like that kind of mindset. I think because YOLO, you only live life once, man. Like if the opportunity pass, it passed. So I think for this kind of scenario, I think the experience you get from applying or doing whatever, I think they'll somehow help. Because I believe like anything you do, it'll somehow help you in the future, even if you know it or not.
Yeah, like, and I can give an example. So right now I am working as a freelance graphic designer for this company, and I only got this I only got this opportunity because I wouldn't say force myself, but because so there was a new art teacher at school, like in high school, and although he didn't actually teach our class at all, I made the effort to get to know him a bit and actually like go to him for advice. And because like I took that risk, because like when he was like introducing himself to us, I like it seemed like he had like so much experience and so much like knowledge and power and wisdom, you know, like shit like that. And I knew like if I didn't form a relationship with him, I felt like I wouldn't be learning as much as I did. And so, and you know, that's how I got the job opportunity. And then in my mind, I was like, even though if I didn't get it, like I might as well just do it, because maybe like I don't know, maybe something will happen, and I got it. I was like, okay, wow, I'm gonna get it. And like yeah, I think deep down, like you know what is best for you in terms of like job opportunities, and like you'll apply or you try and go for it, even though it's not 100% guaranteed. But in terms of like socializing and stuff, like parties and stuff, it's more so like networking opportunities to help you in the future is not likely when you're partying, right? Because that's just like long-term personal, like maybe like relationships. And deep down, when you like apply for a job or like try and like go to these events that network, you'll know you'll regret it. I think deep down, like you know you will regret it if you don't take it. In terms of like parties, like you probably won't regret it anyways. So it's not really like a loss for you. If that makes sense. Does it make sense? Dude, am I even making sense? Shit. I don't know. Say something.
I get what you mean by it. Like for job, it's more like significant in the long run, and for like social drinking, gathering, those are, I think, maybe not as significant in the long run. So then for these kind of scenarios, if you really feel uncomfortable, how do you go about saying no? Like, how do you phrase it so that it's not embarrassing or awkward between you and the other person? Because it's something I think I have to learn.
Well, for me, dude, I just usually say, oh, I don't drink. I'm like, sorry, I don't drink.
Yeah, and I think people have to respect that if you say that.
Yeah, because like I think people do understand that drinking is like not wanting to drink is like, I mean, it's obviously it's not like a bullshit excuse, because some people like will be like, oh, I'm sick, I don't have time, you know, like shit like that. But if you say you don't want to drink, like it's a personal preference,
It's just the
and
truth.
two, like it might be influenced by like yeah, like and you know, they don't know if it's like religious shit or whatever. They won't like question that you don't drink, because it's actually like something probably like close to you, like, you know, like something you value. So I think just saying that, or like yeah, saying the truth, it's not gonna like, it won't be embarrassing. I feel like it won't be like, they won't like look at you differently. And if they were actually like no, oh I feel like if they were actually like friends with you, they would understand and they'll find other ways to like hang out with you instead of like drinking and stuff, you know? Like they'll compensate.
I wouldn't say compensate, but they'll like compromise. Because it's not their...
Yeah, compromise. Oh, yeah, that's
okay.
the word. Yeah. It's not their fault. It's not your
And
fault.
also like...
Yeah.
I think in dealing with rejecting other people or saying no to other people, there has to be some sort of... Like you have to express your gratitude in some sense. Like you... Even though I'm saying no, I appreciate the fact that this person or this group of people asked me to join. It's just that it just so happens that I don't... This activity is just not for me, right? So I think in delivering your response to whatever you're about to reject, you have to make sure that they know that you're grateful for like the opportunity that popped. Like you're thankful for them for asking you in the first place, but this just isn't for me. Like something like that. And as that happens, they'll get to like understand what, you know, what is actually what JCL, what Janet, what Rachel actually might be interested in joining. And whenever an opportunity like that comes up, they'll be like, oh, it's not that they don't want to join us. It's just that the activity that we just so happen to be doing doesn't fit them. So therefore, when something comes up that might be more fitting to them, they'll ask you again, hopefully. Anyways, should we wrap up with our recommendations?
Sure.
Okay.
I can go first. My recommendation is to clean your AirPods. There's so much junk in there. Clean it. Use alcohol pads. Wipe the thing down. Use blue tack to like clean out the little gaps. Use a cotton. How do you
Q-tips?
say that in English? Cotton Q-tips, cotton swab, whatever. Use that to clean it out.
I
It's
can imagine
so
Rachel's
disgusting.
face when she
Clean
first
it.
discovered that her AirPods were disgusting. Like, she must have had, like, some, like, her face would have been, like, all scrunched up, and she'd be, like, making noises.
yeah.
And she'd be like, have I been putting this in my ear?
Yeah, ew, germs.
Oh my god.
Germs, no.
So funny.
My recommendation would be to always opt for overdressing rather than underdressing. And I'm not talking about the formality of your outfit, but, like, in terms of keeping warm. I made the mistake of going out and wearing like a thinnish jacket because I was like, oh, it's like 12 degrees today. That's pretty warm for like UK standards. I walked out and I was fucking freezing. And I was,
It's 18 degrees
oh
here and
my
then
god, and I was too lazy to go back. So I guess that's sort of a me problem. But always opt for overdressing instead of underdressing. You can always take off your outer layer and you'll be fine. And you won't get sick.
My recommendation. My recommendation is to eat vitamin C tablets. So you don't get fucking COVID, you don't get sick. Vitamin C is good for you, good for your health.
Okay.
Especially if you live in the UK where the fruit variety is very scarce. Unlike Hong Kong, Hong Kong has all the good shit.
Okay.
But
I've
you know,
actually been taking
eat-
vitamins as well. I've
me
been taking
too.
omega-3
Yo.
fish oils and multivitamins.
Oh, I just take vitamin C.
Okay, maybe I'll get vitamin C.
Primary.
Or maybe it's included in the multivitamins. I don't even know if the vitamins work.
Please don't say the word
Vitamins.
vitamin.
It might be.
Vitamin.
Vitamins.
Ew. We have to remember all. We have to
Vitamin,
remember all of
vitamin,
them and
vitamin.
how we metabolize in the body.
Sounds like fun.
Exactly. It's painful.
Ew.
It do feel like that. Alright.
Yo,
Bye guys.
thanks for listening. Eat your vitamins.